What is going on, you guys? My name is Rage and we are back today with an event video guide for you all. In today's video, we're going to be walking through a Heroes Haunting event, ultimately allowing us players to earn Dr. Voodoo shards in the coming time. So as you guys can see at the recording time right now, it is going to be available in 2 days and 21 hours. So something to be mindful of. We can hit actually preview, and it's actually going to show us the stages here that's going to be set up into easy, medium, hard. And essentially, just for those of you who may or may not be experiencing for the first time, this is essentially an extension of the campaign mode, where specifically it relates to this event. And by doing the specific nodes and getting through it, we're going to be able to unlock orb fragments, which ultimately then fuel into orbs, and then being able to generate shards for Dr. Voodoo here. So as you guys can see, the only thing to note here is that you can see with the hard difficulty, 5 Spirit Slayer characters are required. So that means in order to actually participate in the last mode here, you do need 5 Spirit Slayer. And I'll go through some character recommendations afterwards just to showcase who I would use in case you guys are wondering. But if we go ahead and hit the eye for additional details, the top recommendations generally is level 60, gear tier level 9, ability level 5, and I don't believe they changed the difficulty yet. So in the past, anywhere, if you have a team that's generally from 140 to 180k, it should be able to get you through most of the nodes. And generally, keep in mind, right, this event's going to run for 2 weeks. So you guys will have time during the event progress to actually be able to bring up your characters if you are stuck on a specific node and wanting to farm more. So ultimately, I do want to give you guys some tips and tricks in terms of maximizing too, because this event, keep in mind, it's for a very powerful character. We haven't seen a character like this in quite a long time in terms of being released like this. But it's one of the best ways to actually get character shards in the game. So I'm going to show you guys real quick here how to maximize that. But before we dive in, always keep in mind too, as we generate these orb fragments, you're actually going to be able to get a sneak peek of the orb that we can unlock here. So it is available now. You can see the Spirit Slayer orb is there. And those are the fragments I'm referring to. Right now we have 0 out of 2,000. But as you actually attack the nodes and generate those fragments, it's going to ultimately translate to 1 orb. And as you can see, we can just hit the additional eye for details here. Hitting other rewards, and we scroll to the bottom for the common shard drop. This is going to give you a breakdown of essentially, what is included on top of Dr. Voodoo if you're not getting him. So you can see notable mentions. There's some good characters. Cloak is in here. Obviously it's unfortunate he's already in the raid store now, but I'm not going to mind getting some more chances to actually get and build up Cloak. We got magic now officially in these orbs, which is really, really helpful for us to build that up. As you can see, Dr. Voodoo is going to be the favorite there. Moon Knight's not yet farmable in the game as well. So I mean, there's some good varieties in here in terms of characters we can get. Obviously, I would always like to see some more limited characters, but that's a pretty decent mix. Generally, these are the characters that are going to be ideally part of the Spirit Slayer as well. So we can go through that. But before I dive in, you guys, let me just show you this quick spreadsheet here in terms of what's worked for me in the past. As you guys can see, I do like to detail all the previous events in the months prior to really showcase here how much energy have I used in terms of refreshing, in terms of what does that translate to a yellow star. So as you guys can see consistently through this, the last time I actually consistently did this pretty heavily was Deathpool and Kestrel, as you can see, right? Because in my opinion, those are 2 characters that really really shook the meta a bit, and ultimately I wanted to maximize as high as I could. So generally, as a rule of thumb, as you guys can see from this progress, and this is the reason I like to keep this for reference, right? Generally, if you're refreshing 4 times a day for the 50s energy, you're going to be able to likely get a 4 yellow. The good news is that you can see that progress throughout the 2 weeks. So that's why you can see here with Spider-Punk, he was the exception in the last event offering, just because I saw that I wasn't going to hit the 4 yellow. So then I spent a little bit more in the later end of the days. And then that ultimately pushed me to the 4 yellow. So generally, as a rule of thumb, if you guys use the 4 refreshes by 50s, that's likely going to land you a 4 yellow given the RNG. And if you go beyond that, doing the 100s as well, that's going to ultimately give you a really good chance to get a 5 yellow. So that's likely what I'm going to, my game plan I'm going to initiate for Dr. Voodoo, because he's a very, very powerful character. Like I said, I don't think we've seen someone of his caliber since Deathpool and Kestrel. So that's why I do want to maximize that. And for those of you watching that are wondering what the 4x50s and the 4x100s is, well, it's a simple refresh for energy. So if you guys are playing the game right now, let me show you here real quick. If I hit this yellow lightning bolt, you know, it's going to ask us if we want to purchase some additional campaign energy for this cost of 50. So it's very similar. Instead of this this yellow energy for refresh, because right now I built this up, generally it should actually cost you 50 power cores. So what I'm referring to actually is just hitting this refresh 4 times per day, and that's going to allow you to actually have more energy, as you can see, to farm it. And my general strategy to actually farm is I don't actually refresh the node. So if I wanted to demonstrate for you guys how this is done, let's just pretend that this is the hard mode of the event campaign. Well, here you have Symbiote Spider-Man. Let's pretend this is the last node in hard. Well, I would just go ahead, hit here, and I would just use all the energy to farm the fragments. Obviously, this is just an example. There's no fragments for Symbiote Spider-Man. And then I would work my way down and work my way down as I continue to get energy throughout the day. And keep in mind, this is tied with your regular campaign energy and your ISO 8 energy. So you want to maximize those refreshes per day if you can, which ideally is, you know, depending on your time frame. For me, every time it's at 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and the afternoon for me at 12 o'clock. So 3 times a day, and I do like to try and maximize that, right? So that being said, you guys, that's pretty much an overview of the event. You really want to maximize, you know, really determine if you want to aim for a 4 or 5 yellow, and as well gauge how much power cores you want to use, right? So in that spreadsheet, I did total that for your guys' reference. Now we can get down to the details in terms of the recommendations here for characters. So the good news is we actually get quite a really good selection. So if you go ahead in the filter here and we actually search by Spirit Slayer, you know, we get actually a hefty supply of powerful characters. And keep in mind, this is going to be different depending on your roster and where you're at in the game. But ideally, you guys, we still have a couple days to prepare. If you can get your hands on Cloak, he is available in the raid store right now, and he is hands down one of the most powerful characters in the game, especially when he's combined with Dagger. Unfortunately, he doesn't get his counterpart for this event, but he's a very strong character that you can utilize. On top of Cloak, I would actually recommend synergizing him with Hela and Ghost Spider. The main reason being is because Hela, she can spread the negative conditions. So, you know, Cloak can actually apply those negative conditions. Hela can spread it and actually inflict more negative damage. She's got Greg, which is the undead Asgardian that we can utilize to soak up damage. She's a very great character overall. I like Ghost Spider as well because she's got an ability block that can allow some crowd control. Very similar to Hela, her ultimate web snare here also spreads negative conditions. Overall, still a very strong character and a great kit, and she's got the ability block, which is going to provide some value there. I don't think a lot of players, if you guys are new to the game, you likely won't have Ebony Maw, just because he's a legendary that requires another legendary. But he is a very strong recommendation if you guys have him in your arsenal. With his defensive and regenerative abilities, he's going to provide a lot of support. If you do, I actually recommend pairing Ebony Maw with Thanos, because they're going to be able to get a lot of benefits from each other, being part of that Black Order group, and the fact that they actually get bonuses with each other. Thanos is a pretty solid tank. He can soak up damage, he can heal himself, but he really does thrive with Ebony Maw being on the same team. That being said, if we move along here now with Loki, Loki does have that synergy as well with Hela, so you could do a mixture of the Asgardian team here. I like Loki because he's got defensive and offensive capabilities. You know, he can mind control, he can actually create illusions regardless of the team. Definitely one of the better characters in terms of giving you that switchability and adaptability in combat, especially, you know, you don't need him to be powerful. He's a very quick character, so he can get his turn and provide a little bit of support along the way. More recently, you know, I don't have them built up on my team here, but, you know, the reworks to Elsa, Ghost Rider, as well as Mordo, you know, they're going to get some really good value from there. These guys, you know, being part of the Supernatural team, and as well as the Spirit Slayer and Dark Hunter, they're going to have some value in terms of giving you that synergy of damage. The fact that they're actually going to be likely used in the next Legendary Horseman event, because they noted that it's going to be Web Warriors or Dark Hunters, so you can get some value there right now. For me, I just don't have them built up, so it's not worth it, but if you guys have them built up, I highly recommend it, just because they have been reworked. But, you know, other than that, you know, you can also do a combination here of the X-Men. We see Wolverine, Storm, and Magic actually being available. Again, mine aren't built up, so I'm obviously going to utilize what I can, but you can have that trio mixture there. You know, Wolverine does some really good piercing damage, tanking, and soaking. Storm works really well with her charges, but she's really going to thrive if you have Magic built up. Both of them are going to be able to actually just work off of each other. Those are the recommendations I see right now off the top of my head, you guys. I don't recommend Black Panther, M'Baku, you know, and Iron Fist, he's really good with the Heroes for Hire. I wouldn't recommend him just with this random team mixture that we got, but those are really the characters that I would highly recommend in terms of what we can see. I also wouldn't recommend the Hand here, just with Nobu and Elektra. You can also do a mixture here of obviously Moon Knight, White Tiger, and as well as Electra if you'd like. But obviously for me, the Shadowland isn't built. They're more of a war team anyways. Likely you guys will have better luck with some of the characters I talked about earlier. So there you guys have it. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick, brief overview video. Hope this is going to prepare you guys for the event in the coming days. Again, he's going to be a very character unlockable for the free-to-play community. Let's take advantage of this. Thank you as always, you guys. Do appreciate you checking my videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.